Lights, camera, action.
This your brother Kabar, out the Marshall Warriors, and we just out here week in and week out on another cold Saturday, letting our people know, so-called black, so-called Hispanic, so-called Native Americans, that we are the true people of the Bible, that we are the Israelites that the Bible speaks of, that we do have a richer heritage than what it is that they're just portraying and that they're just telling us, and that they just want us to believe, and that we buy it and then we go out. But the bad part is that not only is that our heritage, but a lot of us, even if we don't fully believe that that's our heritage, we still, once we find out that it is, then we still want everybody else to be a part of it. But then everybody else doesn't want us to be a part of what they got going on. That's why they got things like Greektown and Chinatown and Little Italy and things like that. They got all these different things that are showing that they have such a special love for their people that they're willing to integrate when necessary, and then, you know, separate when they feel that also is necessary. But us, we want all inclusivity, because that's all that we've been taught. We've been taught that if everybody isn't a part of what we have, what's going on, bro? If everybody isn't a part of what it is that we have, then it's not worth anything. Like what we have on ourselves is not enough. But if you look from the mid 1800s all the way to now, there's been over 150, I believe, our establishments and things like that have been, or our cities or whatever it is that we got going on, our businesses, things like that, where people have destroyed those because it was just for us. And those things were doing so successful that we didn't have a need for anybody else, because we were self-sufficient within ourselves. Our dollar was circulating in our own communities, and people saw that and saw that they weren't being a part of it, or that we didn't need to be dependent on them like they were telling us that we needed to be. So what they come and do, they put, you know, they drowned the city, they put levees on them, they bombed the cities, they came in and had the army come in and you know, run out all the people. They hired the KKK and things like that so they could come through and ruin our cities. And now we just at the point where we're like, oh, we can't never have anything, so we just stop, right? And we talk about this where we say everybody just needs to come together. We just need to come together, and we just need to figure this out, right? Which sort of brings me to my next point about, we talk about the government, right? Our people love to talk about how the government doesn't work for us, how the government doesn't have anything for us. When we gonna get our reparations? When we gonna get shit like that, stuff like that? When is that stuff gonna happen, right? And then we get to this point now where you got Trump, who's in here, who's dismantling the government piece by piece. And you have people that are upset about what it is that he's doing, especially with this latest thing, USA, right? They're upset about him doing that because it's taking away corporate jobs, right? 60,000 jobs so far have been taken away or paused, which is only, I believe, 2% of the entire working force. But you hear a number like 60,000, and that seems like a lot, but in the big scheme of things, it's not. And then you got to ask yourself, okay, well then, what are these jobs that's being taken away? And they put it under the guise of inclusivity, like they did DEI, right? And so you ask yourself, well, if it's about inclusivity and they're taking away these jobs, that means that they love to put us at the forefront, where they're trying to take away jobs that recognize you all and that make you guys feel special, right? Well, let's just take a look at what some of these jobs are and what some things that they were spending the money on for these hiring people. You got $1.5 million to promote gays and trans in Jamaica. America was spending $1.5 million under the last administration to promote gays and trans in Jamaica. They were spending $2 million to strengthen sex-affirming changes in Guatemala. They were spending $43 million in Afghanistan to a gas station that had no customers whatsoever, right? So you ask yourself, like, okay, well, why does a gas station, why would we do that? Why would we spend money on that? And then you look at all these shipping containers and things like that are coming over. It was just a couple days ago where this truck came into this port. This lady, the guy was asking the truck driver, some questions. He seemed a little type of edgy, right? He didn't know, a little dodgy. And so she just gets a bad feeling, and she's still doing her route, checking the truck. She goes to the back of the truck and sees that it's open a little bit, so she goes and takes it upon herself to go and look what's in there. And she opens it up, and it's a bunch of kids' bodies in there, right? So, and bodies and body parts. So you have to ask yourself these questions: is the gas station a front for something else, and why are they spending $43 million on it? There's $20 million for Iraqi Sesame Street. What's the problem with that? What's the problem with, wanting kids to learn? Well, one of the things that is being promoted over here on Sesame Street as of late is, the pronouns and how to use the pronouns and things like that. So if they're doing that over here, and you saw the other things that are on this list, that they're also promoting those other things over there as well. So that not only are they trying to corrupt our people, but then they're taking it abroad and doing it under the guise of, where your kids are learning about letters, your kids are learning about numbers, your kids are learning about words. They're also learning about pronouns and how to use them, and that you can choose your own, right? These are things that they're telling. Over $4.5 million to combat disinformation in Pakistan. Over $6 million for men that have sex with other men in South Africa. $2 million for Moroccan pottery classes. So again, you're asking yourself, Moroccan pottery classes, what's so bad about that? Well, we know art, right? We know paintings and things like that. We know how they sell for these astronomical numbers. What's going on with that? Why are these paintings that somebody said, it may be, a lot of them aren't even good looking. A lot of them are abstract, where you gotta use your own interpretation, and what you think it might be, somebody else might, and it's like 3 different color lines that's on the canvas, and then that sells for $43 million. When you look into how art works, then you realize that art is also a front for a lot of things. What's that company? Wayfair, right? There's this company Wayfair where they have a bunch of different items, regular items, dressers, beds, mattresses, things like that, right? And they're selling for these high numbers. And if you look on the names of these things that are, of these items that are selling, they're the names of people. Not only that though, it's a front for them selling kids. So you'll see a dresser that's named Ashley. You'll see a shoe storage thing that's named Ben, things like that. And so they're already using that over here through the company Wayfair, and that company is never going away. Whenever you search for next time you guys search for furniture, just type in whatever and look and see if Wayfair isn't either the first ones that come up, or the majority of the ones that you got to shop through, because that's what they're trying to do. It's not just furniture that they're selling other things. So if they're doing that over there, they're going to be doing that here as well. $2 million for sex trafficking in Guatemala. $2 million for a transgender opera in Colombia. $17 million to promote inclusion in Vietnam. $32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru. $8 million to teach Sri Lankan journalists how to avoid binary gender languages. $300 million for orders to attack Elon Musk. Well, okay, so you're like, all right, well, it's Elon Musk, so how do we have, is it really that big of a deal, right? But you have to think back to things like the Black Lives Matter movement, right? BLM. And you look back and you see what all the rioters and things were doing back then. And who was at the forefront, who were they projecting that was doing most of that rioting, most of that looting? They were projecting our people. They would only take the images of our people and display that up and say, well, this movement is for them, but they're the ones doing all the loitering, and they're the ones doing all the looting, and they're the ones doing all the rioting, right? But then again, you always have to take a deeper dive into things. Just like how we do with the Bible, when we look at what the true meaning is, you gotta take a deeper dive into things. So now you're looking at when you start doing that, you start seeing things like videos of white guys going around saying, "You guys are mad, right? You guys are mad? Well, there's some bricks up here. There's a whole pile of bricks. Come on, come on." And it's literally like that, like something out of a movie. There's a whole pile of bricks up here. Go ahead, we're gonna smash this store. You see the white chicks spraying the Starbucks, putting graffiti on it, and you see our people that are telling them to stop because they don't think that that's us, and they're saying we're trying to help. The white girls are saying we're trying to help, and they're like, no, because they're gonna think that that's us, and that's the only stuff that they're gonna put up there. So that's the type of stuff that's behind these type of things. $2 million for sex changes and activism in Guatemala. There's a lot of stuff going on in Guatemala. Guatemala, billions to fund and run the impeach Trump campaign, which means that the last administration, when Trump was in office, I don't know why, the Democrats, right? The Democratic Party, they were spending everything that you were seeing, how you were seeing on heavy rotation about impeach Trump and all this other stuff was going on through the Democratic Party, right? They were pushing that when they say that they don't have, this is the same administration when floods were taking out homes and people were losing their homes and neighborhoods, whole neighborhoods were flooded, cars were floating down the streets, people lost family pets, things like that. This is the same administration that was saying, you know what, we feel bad, we'll give you $700, right? Out of everything that you're losing, we'll give you $700. That's the same administration that was putting billions of dollars into trying to make somebody else look bad. $330 million to help Afghanis grow crops. Again, you're asking yourself, you're saying to yourself, well, that's a good thing, allowing them to grow crops. But then that's under the guise that it's food crops. There's multiple different types of crops, right? And you got this administration right now, and again, just want to clarify, I'm not for, I could care less, I'm not for the Democrats or the Republicans or whomever, I'm not for them. But you got Trump that's trying to crack down on fentanyl and cocaine being brought into this country, being transported into this country. Well, these are also other types of crops, right? So, but let's go under the guise that it is food crops. Well, that's interesting that they're putting that amount of money to grow crops over there when you just had them buy all of the farms, a majority of the farms out here, buy out a lot of these farmers, only to burn all of the crops in the field and then kill the livestock and leave the dead bodies piled up for miles down the road. This is the livestock as well. So again, you're asking yourself, what's going on, boy? You're asking your people these type of questions, or you're asking yourself these type of questions as well. Was it really for what we're being told? And then $120 million of the money was given to terrorists, right? Because if you look at America's history, at some point, America will label people terrorists, and then they'll take that label away, right? And if they take that label away, then they'll start helping them with certain things, giving them aid. That aid includes weaponry. That aid includes, battleships and things like that. And then they'll label them a terrorist again. Well, they're not going to give back what it is that they took from us as gifts, right? They're not going to give back any of the weaponry. They're not going to give back any of the things that they can use to build an army. They're going to keep those things. And so America knows what it is that they're doing. America loves to create chaos, and that's what they continue to do. But this is what happens when you don't read what it is. Everybody wants to preach vote, and things like that, and say no to Prop 6 and all this other stuff, but you don't see the little stuff that's in there. They intentionally put you on the big picture to see what it is that's going on, or to hide what it is that's going on. The little tickers at the bottom of the news that's going by quickly that you have to pay attention to, that's the stuff that you need to be looking at. But we're so distracted by everything else that's going on. We always love to focus on the main picture. We're not focusing on the little things that's going on. So when you guys are saying yes to these bills and no to these bills, a lot of the bills that you're saying no to is for your best benefit, and a lot of the bills that you're saying yes to have a lot of these little clauses and things in here and there like that have nothing to do with what the bill originally states. So you guys got to be careful. That's why we don't vote. That's why we don't get into politics and things like that, because we're not supposed to. Our king is Yahweh Shai, right?
Okay.
Our God is Yahweh. These are he has laws, statutes, and commandments that we need to be following. We're not for the advancement of this place. This isn't what we're for. That's not why we're here. That's not why we come out here week in and week out. We're not doing this for the advancement of this place. We're not doing this so that people, we're not doing this so we can stay here. We're doing this so that we can get out of here. So we want to get out of here as soon as possible. You got the phone number? Can we just do Ecclesiastes 12:13? We got a responsibility that we have to do while we're here. There is no other choice. You guys think that you have these choices. You don't. These are our responsibilities. And the sooner that we get back to these, the sooner we can get out of here. But y'all keep playing around. Y'all keep acting like this is the end all be all. Y'all don't really want heaven because y'all not focused on it. Y'all focus on everything else but what it is that God wants you to be focused on. And then you wonder why we're sitting in weather like this, in situations like this, where you got to worry about the betterment of everything else. No, don't worry about what God wants. That's the best that you got to worry about.
It's the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, verse 13.
Look.
Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For God shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil.
And that's again, that's what we are here doing that. Again, we're going to continue to do that. Again, this is, I like to say, call Yahweh God by Yahweh. This is Mashiach Yahweh Shai. This is Mara Shai. Shalom.
Shalom.